Okay. Member Schill?
Present.
Member Raffinelli? Present. Member Calvon?
Here.
Member Earl?
Present.
Member Pache?
Present.
Member Bicknell is absent. Chair Taylor?
Here. Is there a motion to excuse Member Becknell's absence? I'll say it again for
I motion to excuse Member Bicknell's absence.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. All right, are there any late changes to the agenda?
No late changes to the agenda, Chair.
All right, if there are no further late changes to the agenda, the minutes stand as approved. It is now time for public comment. Anyone requesting to speak to the board regarding all items not subject to specific public hearing may come forward at this time. Please state your name and limit comments to 3 minutes. Written comments may be submitted to the clerk prior to the meeting.
Good evening. My name is Heather Gordon. Good evening. My name is Heather Gordon. I want to speak in support of the Bee City initiative that the Parks Board will be learning about tonight. This is an initiative that a committee at the Ridgefield Garden Club has been studying for a couple of years. I and another member of the club met with Cersei Society Director of Education, Matthew Shepard, and were greatly impressed with how approachable this initiative is, how flexible, and what positive impacts it has for the health of the communities where it's adopted. The initiative gets implemented over time, provides educational materials for residents, and offers free training for city staff, I did say free, to help improve existing practices when it comes to caring for and maintaining grasses, shrubs, flowering plants, and trees, all of which obviously we have abundantly in our parks. These improvements can then support native bee populations, which are responsible for an amazing 80% of all pollination. One of my other motivations for speaking in favor of the Bee City initiative is because I think it can be helpful in other important city work. As chair of the Roundabout Committee, I've been working with a team of committee members and city staff to design attractive, low-maintenance, appealing landscape designs for our city's installed and upcoming roundabouts. It's been challenging, but one thing that every member on our committee has agreed on is that we want pollinator-friendly, biodiverse, local area plants to feature in our roundabouts. We realize that our designs require a slightly new kind of approach to landscape maintenance. From that perspective, the Bee City initiative may help the city and its maintenance staff to learn about easier ways to maintain and promote lovely, lively, pollinator-friendly landscapes. Landscapes that are essential for the bees and by extension for the bird life we so love and hope to protect in Ridgefield. The U.S. is seeing stunning declines in both insect and bird populations. I know you're likely aware, but it bears repeating that the statistics are terrible. According to one source, quote, the abundance of 4 species of bumblebees has plummeted by as much as 96% in recent decades. When it comes to birds, we've lost 3 billion birds, or 1 in 4 birds, since 1970. These declines have grave consequences, not just because our kids are not getting to see and enjoy butterflies, bees, other fun insects, but because it has really grave consequences for food crops, salmon runs, other wildlife, and the health of our forests and rivers, and ultimately for human life. I hope that the Parks Board will give the Bee City initiative a hard look and consider following the example of other local communities that have adopted the Bee City initiative. Thank you for your time and your effort.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to the consent agenda for approval of our minutes from the August 13th. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from our August 13th Parks Board meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And now we are to the exciting part of our presentations, which the first part is the Bee City USA process requirements and considerations. And our presenter is Parks Director Corey Crownhart.
Thank you, Chair, and I will make a correction. I'm actually the Parks Manager,
Oh, excuse me, Parks Manager.
but I appreciate the promotion.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chair and Parks Board. Tonight we'll be talking about the research brief that we've put together for Bee City USA, specifically talking about the process, the requirements, and some considerations for you to think about as we're presenting you this information. Slide. So for context, we were requested, there were some public comments at this meeting as well as City Council a few weeks ago asking about Bee City USA. And Council then directed staff to do some research and present those findings on this organization and this designation to Parks Board and then to Council. So really our objective tonight is we're going to be talking about what is the Bee City program, why it matters, and what participation could look like for a city like Ridgefield. Tonight is really just an overview. We're not going to be asking you to take any action on anything tonight, and really this is your opportunity to think of this as a chance to learn about this opportunity and to ask questions. So with that, let's start with the basics. What is Bee City? So first off, Bee City is a nationally recognized program run by the Xerxes Society for Invertebrate Conservation. And their focus is on pollinator protection, especially native bees. It's not just a title, and it recognizes communities that are actively supporting pollinator health through habitat creation, reducing pesticides, and educating the public. So it's really going to be all about making our city a habitat that is going to thrive for bees, hence the title, Bee City USA. So what would that look like for the city of Ridgefield? What would be the benefits of that? Next slide. So there are a couple of big benefits to participating in something like this for the city of Ridgefield. First is when it comes to civics and school groups participating in educational platforms. So by having a program like this, we can help educate the community on the value of native plants, the impacts it has on our community, and similar aspects to that. And it opens the doors to a lot more partnerships for the city, such as partnerships with nonprofits, neighborhood associations, HOAs, and others, including organizations like the Ridgefield Garden Club. Now, these collaborations strengthen our connection to the outdoor spaces, and as we've talked about before, these are opportunities to get the community more involved in our parks, because they do belong to all of us, and the more that the public participates in them, the healthier they're going to be, the healthier our community can be, and the easier it is to secure funding to help take care of spaces like this. But importantly, it's a marketing tool that allows us to build a reputation as a sustainable leader of environmental values here in Ridgefield. And those are the values that have been expressed in things like the city's goals that City Council has put together. So we'd be utilizing there's an opportunity to utilize the branding of Bee City USA and signage and website content and social media posts to help drive that message that Ridgefield is a space for ecological support. All right, next slide. So what would it look like if we actually adopted something like this? So looking through their processes, it's fairly straightforward on how it would work. First things first is that the city would have to designate a specific city liaison. And this could be any staff member in the city, maybe myself, maybe Director Thamert, right? Great. I know you're excited about that one. Wonderful. Could be any staff member of the city that serves as kind of the point of contact for the organization. Next, you would have to, we'd form or designate a pollinator committee. Now, this doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to be something new. It can be a standing advisory board to the city, which, for context, the Parks Board is an advisory board to the city. So potentially, this board could serve as that committee. Now, the council would also have to adopt a council resolution designating that the city is a bee city, and we are putting those values forward as a city. Now, there are draft templates of what these resolutions could look like from other cities, and the Bee City USA organization has these templates already for the city to consider. And there's also a $200 annual fee that the city would need to pay. So that may be another budget request we have. Now, to keep the certification, the city must host at least one educational event and submit an annual progress report on the work that we've done to help educate the public on these processes. So that's what the process looks like. So let's take a look at some of the ongoing work that it would take. Now, the benefit here, or the fortunate part for us, is that much of this work we are already doing. For example, hosting one annual outreach event as a pollinator event. We have 12 wonderful events we do every year here in the city, and our spring festival could serve as a great candidate for something like this. So we could incorporate it into an existing event in the city. We'd also utilize signage and help post our commitment to ecological values on our website and our social media posts, as mentioned before. On the habitat and the maintenance side, Ridgefield already has pollinator-friendly planting requirements in our engineering standards that you reviewed earlier this year, and our operations maintenance crews already use integrated pest management practices. So this is not to say that the city would eliminate the use of pesticides. It's that we apply pesticides with a conscious mind when we're going about doing it. It's about balancing our ability to take care of our outdoor spaces and protecting the outdoor environment. So this isn't about reinventing the wheel, it's about formalizing and celebrating the work that we already do. So what about other cities? We would not be the first ones in this area to do this. In fact, Vancouver became a bee city earlier this year, and they've been they hosted a pollinator festival earlier this year and are utilizing the designation to build more collaborations with nonprofits and local schools. Hillsborough has integrated pollinator-friendly policies into their city planning and park management since 2019, and Eugene has even gone further to expand their native habitat across parks and open spaces starting back in 2018. Now, these just provide an example of other spaces that have done things like this. So with that overview, I'd like to open it up to questions. Now, this is just the beginning of the conversation. So for context, I'll be presenting the same presentation to council at either the September 25th or the October 9th meeting. And while I'm not seeking a motion or action tonight, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What excites you about this idea? What do you see as potential challenges? And are there specific questions you'd want answered by staff as this continues forward to council? With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair, for discussion, comments, and questions.
Do you guys have things you'd like to discuss?
Do you want? I just had two things. The progress report, is that activities only kind of thing, or is someone needed to I guess what data are they getting from that? And speaking of data, is it just a nice sign, or how do they know this is actually helping? I guess it would be nice to know this, with Eugene, and this maybe you guys know this information more of do these steps actually help with increasing the bee population and things like that? That's what I would love to know, is the data behind it of Eugene started in 2018, have they seen an increase in the bee population, and that kind of stuff would be interesting moving forward. Just if we are going to do it, I think it would be really cool to have that kind of information, because that would be worthwhile knowing that you're doing something good.
I can reach out to our neighbors and find out the impacts of that designation.
That was kind of my question too, is I was curious about the progress reports and who what was behind it and what was supposed to be in it, and what Eugene and Vancouver had discovered, or what their progress reports looked like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can reach out to them, make sure that we get those.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. You mentioned that the city already has adopted using pollinator-friendly plants, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that means in all city planning?
In all city planning, and our developers that are building kind of easements throughout the city.
So that was my question
So our
too.
PUDs are required to use a native plant list when they are developing those
So
sites.
any new developments that go in when is the pollinator-friendly plants listed in the plantings that are required of the 25% park space when plantings do go in? I don't,
Yes, that's a component of Ridgefield Municipal Code, Chapter 18, which is our development code.
got that number memorized. Good for you, Corey. Also, the public education event, like you say, it could just be partnered with any of the city events that happen. Is it also allowed? I'm sure that they could co-sponsor, like the Garden Club or, other organizations in the community could co-sponsor those pollinator events?
Absolutely, and in fact, there's opportunities for partnering organizations to host them entirely on their own if they want, in collaboration with the city. So it doesn't necessarily create more work for us, but what it allows is an opportunity to invite the public to come into the process.
Yeah.
And say, if we want to help have a pollinator festival, let's work with a partnering organization that may be able to help provide some of that work. And I hear that there's an organization that does a large plant sale every year down at Bennett Hall.
Yeah. I would also like to see in this, if we're gonna get on board with this, just so that we don't carry a title, that we're a pollinator-friendly city, that it actually probably we become like the gold standard. We have such a strong garden club in our community. I don't know how strong the other cities are, but this is an opportunity to really make an impact, because if we're just talking about city-owned spaces, we're really not talking about a large percentage of property. I would like it to see, I know they're doing outreach on doing native planting, which probably encourages pollinators too, but I would like, if we do something, adopt something like this, I'm never in favor of adopting something, even our resolutions, we do so many resolutions in the city, but they aren't really, they're not pushed to success. And so, like Jessica and Bridget were saying, let's get some results from other cities and see if we can top those results. If we're gonna do this, like I say, I don't want it just to be a placard. I'd like it to actually be able to show some valuable results.
So you'd like to be a grade A, B city?
I'd like to be a grade A, B city.
You're welcome.
An A, B, C
Yes.
acronym, correct, thanks.
I love the idea of more partnerships. I don't know the relationship with the Clark County beekeepers, I think, at the fair, but I know that's probably another one. I do agree with Member Schill here about just making sure that we have some community involvement, and I think information is sometimes what people would want to help if they just actually knew. I know I got some help from the garden club to put some native plants in my yard, and I've enjoyed that, and I think I've seen 10 times more bees in my yard, and I've also let some things stay out and flower, even though I should have pulled them. I was like, they need it more than me. So I think there's probably a lot more willingness if we do communicate things out there to kind of raise the standard of what we want to see. I do also think this is a great, along with that $200 a year, if we can do like a line item for a parks manager bee outfit to be worn at like the 4th of July parade, I think you'll get more buy-in. I really think this will sell.
I do imagine our budgets are pretty tight this year.
There are other initiatives like No Mow May, where you're not supposed to mow your lawn, according to some nonprofits, because that's the time when the insects need it. Is the city going to undertake like a pesticide audit to see if they're using neonicotinoid pesticides that are a large part of the reason that we're having a decline in insects in North America?
I think that's a consideration that council could potentially take a look at, but that would have to be a directive from that body.
Because it would kind of be in conflict to be using the pesticides, but also be called a bee-friendly city. And there are other pollinators also that are not tolerated within society, like wasps, which are significant pollinators as well. So is that also part of the initiative, or just bees?
Specifically, it's talking about all pollinators. So while they call themselves Bee City, it is not just specifically bees, but those are the ones that are cute and people like.
Going with Sandy and going all in, I also think that could just a thought process of the high school maybe having like a beehive like club or something. Because I just had our babysitter, she just graduated her and her dad were doing their own little like beekeeping thing, and it was so cute. And I mean, I've never done bees, so I don't know how much is involved with them, but like if you're going to do Bee City, maybe get involved with the education, have a high school club or something that has a hive and sell their honey and things like that. It would be, I think, a cute little thing. And then one other thing was, speaking of education, and we're talking about all these native plants, and I know Davis Park has the kind of a little bit of a native thing with the signage, but down the line, if there's a way to actually get a community education garden, I know a lot of other cities have that already, and it just a little bit more expansive than just the Davis Park thing. I think would be really cool if we were going to go that direction of like being like full in terms of education. And I think down the line, I know money's tight right now, but even if the garden club, if they had a plot of land that they could just completely transform into like, just so people can be educated about their gardens and what they can grow natively and how it looks in the garden, and be able to walk through it and interact with it and have questions about pesticide use and things like that, that would all be answered in that community garden.
Absolutely, and if I could share as well, there are models within parks and recreation agencies of partnering organizations coming in and helping fund, maintain, and put together spaces like that. In fact, the project at Davis Park is kind of the first step into something potentially like that. So the model for that already exists for us. There's an opportunity for us to grow it if that was something Parks Board and Council wants to do.
Yeah, I think Bee City opens up opportunities for partnerships and for us to be able to bring in other partnerships that are willing to do those exact things that we want to do. And that's really, really cool.
Do you think that partnerships would have to be done through like specific organizations, or could it be done through like a high school club?
Sky's the limit. There are many of opportunities to partner. And it doesn't have to be exclusively with one organization. It can be with many partners.
Okay.
Can I ask, if you know the answer to this, how many species of pollinators are we talking about? I know we have the mason bees, the bumblebees, honeybees. I don't know my bees, but we're talking about more than one bee here. We're not just talking about mason bees.
That is true.
correct?
I do not know the answer to that one.
Okay.
But if somebody shouted it out,
And
I might know.
I know that maybe in public comment they could enlighten us, but I know, they've done a good job of educating some on the mason bees. We have a mason bee hive. People are scared when the bees come out in early spring, but they make a muddy mess, but it's temporary. But then I do notice that they pack in pretty early and lay their eggs, and then we don't see as many bees out. I do have a resident bumblebee at my house. I see him, I talk to him. He likes my zucchini plant. But I agree, I don't see the bumblebees around like I did when I was a kid. But I was just wondering, are we talking about many kinds? Because say like a hornet probably isn't what we're trying to attract.
Well, according to a quick Google search, there are more than 20,000 different species of pollinators in the world, and I imagine there's quite a few here as well.
So we're just trying to...
3,600 here in the Pacific Northwest.
And there's not a necessary, like, this plant is for this bee and this plant. They don't discriminate on plants, do they? I mean, the bees are like, they'll take any flower they can get.
I am not a botanist,
I know,
but
I
I
don't
imagine
know
that
either.
they are
That'd be
many,
great
many
part of the
flowers.
education if we were to become this, to educate about what type of bees. People are afraid of the mason bees when they're out on our patio. They're all over the place in your face, but they really have one goal, and it's not to communicate with us. It's like, get out of my way, I gotta go get to a flower. So
I guess if with that point, if for some reason, I don't know my pollinators either, but if it is hornets or wasps, maybe just, if we do go that route of pollinating, maybe keep them away directly near the playgrounds, just in case just in case you're getting hornets and wasps in playgrounds, maybe not be the best thing. That's my only other thing. I have no idea though.
And I imagine the Xerxes Foundation would have, or Xerxes organization would have a lot of information on that.
There's also crossover with hummingbirds, because we have Annis hummingbirds here, which are resident year-round, so they'll definitely like this. And that's my comment.
Is there any other discussion? Great. Well, thank you, and thank you, Garden Club, for being here. Our next business item is a presentation for staff introductions. Mr. Crownhart.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chair and Parks Board. As you are all aware, our beloved Parks Public Works Director, Chuck Green, retired earlier this summer. I'm sure he is enjoying all of his time off. But with that, I have brought tonight with me the incoming leadership for the Public Works Department. Director Ryan Thamert is our current director for the department, and Deputy Director for Infrastructure is Miranda Lang, and I'll let Ryan kind of introduce a little bit of what they do and how it relates to our work.
Good evening, Parks Board and members of the public. It's great to be here tonight. I am reminded every day by Corey that parks are paramount and that the Parks Board is the best advisory board the city has. So it's great to be here with you tonight. I want to start with a little bit about my background. I was born and raised just south of here in Salmon Creek. Some of my closest friends lived in Ridgefield, so I feel that I have grown up here. And the first 10 years of my career was owning and operating a landscape company. That's where I first was introduced to parks, mostly through HOAs and maintaining HOA properties, some even here in Ridgefield. Then I worked for a short period of time for the Parks and Rec Department at City of Vancouver. And then after about 6 months or so, I transferred here to Ridgefield, and I spent the first year of my career here working, mowing and maintaining our parks. I worked with a longtime resident of Ridgefield named Randy Ray. Some of you may know him. But it was great to learn about Ridgefield, and he had so many stories from over the years growing up and living here his whole life. That's where I really developed a love for this city and this community. Over the following 9 years, I worked my way through the Public Works Department. I transferred to the Utilities Department, working in water and stormwater, eventually becoming the stormwater supervisor, and I built up the newly created stormwater department at the time. And then my last position before Public Works Director, I was the utilities manager. So a lot of history and time here at the city. Some of what I want to share with you tonight is, as Chuck was leaving the city, retiring, we took a look at our structure for the department and what had gone well and what hadn't gone very well. And what we realized is that the Public Works Director position was just, there was too much to it, and for one person to handle. They were stretched too thin, and so our city manager, Steve Stewart, and the management team for the city decided to reorganize the department. So they created so we had the Public Works Director, but they split off part of it, creating a new division called the Infrastructure Division, which Miranda is our Deputy Director, and she is leading that division. So the way the department is structured now, we have utilities and operations. So utility is our water and our stormwater teams. And our operations team does basically everything that's not water related. So parks, streets, cemetery, buildings, fleet, all the miscellaneous things. And then our infrastructure team now is leading our, they are maintaining our pavement preservation program and our capital program. And then also parks, the main parks program. So as a part of Public Works, I have parks in two different ways: the parks program under infrastructure, and then our maintenance teams. So you know, every day as we're going about the business of the city, we're constantly looking at the work that the Parks Board is doing through engineering standards that you guys passed. Was that last year? It was in May. Oh, earlier this year, yeah. And the concepts and master plans, the pros plan that you'll be working on next year. And then on the other side of it, the maintenance staff that are out there every day mowing the parks, maintaining them, making sure that they're fun and safe places for our community to spend time. With that, I just wanted to again reiterate that I'm glad to be here, and it's nice to meet all of you, and I'm going to turn this over to Miranda.
Good evening. As Abel said, I'm Miranda Lang. I did not grow up here in Washington. I actually grew up in Colorado, which is where most of my family still is now. Just as a side note, my younger sister has 3 beehives that she takes care of. And then my parents just had a group come in and harvest a bunch of pollinator plants, their seeds, so that they could go take them and clean them up and then use them. So kind of apropos that has happened, like literally just happened last week. So my dad sent me pictures of them harvesting the seeds, so it was kind of cool. However, so I grew up in Colorado, got my degree in civil engineering from Colorado State University, spent 14 years working as a project manager / project engineer for the Colorado Department of Transportation. Then I went to the consulting side of things and did that for 3 years. Really realized I missed my public servant type role. And so then I actually went to the federal government. So I went to work for the Federal Department of Transportation, where I was both on the FHWA side, the highway side, and then I was also on the rail side. And then with some of the chaos that I'm sure people are aware of that has happened over the last year, this position opened, and it was very interesting to me, and I felt like it would be a really fun way to apply the skills that I had learned and, you know, also really have a direct impact on a local community. So again, I'm very happy to be here. I'm super excited to have Corey on my team, and really his vision, same thing, right? Parks are paramount. He is very well versed in this. It is very well done. And I'm just really grateful to be here and meet everybody, so thank you.
Well, and really the reason why I really wanted Mrs. Lang and Mr. Thamer to come in tonight was to, one, help you put faces to names, and to help show that the Parks Division is not just me. There is a large team of people that are working to implement the policies and the directions from Council and Parks Board day in and day out within our city. These are the 2 people who are helping make that a reality, whether it be in maintaining our parks and helping create the new spaces that we're stepping into. So I appreciate the ringing endorsement of parks. Do you all have any questions for these 2 wonderful professionals?
We just all appreciate you all very much. So thank you for all you do. Anyone else? All right, well, that concludes our business. It opens the floor for public comment, our last public comment. Does anyone, if there's anyone requesting to speak to the board regarding all items not subject to specific public hearing, they may come forward at this time. Please state your name and limit comments to 3 minutes. Written comments may be submitted to the clerk prior to the meeting. All right. Staff reports.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chair and Parks Board. A couple of things I want to keep you up to date on. First, I'm going to go over some of the activity that took place in August regarding council. Now, August was a very special month for council because every single item on their agendas for the entire month of August was all parks. So it was a very special month for me. I was so excited. Director Thamer can attest. So first up on the August 14th public meeting, we had two agenda items. One of them was on the Envision Ridgefield 2024, which is our comprehensive plan, and Director Clara Lust, who runs the Community Development Department, and I discussed the draft parks and recreation elements of that 20-year plan. We also discussed the park name dedication for the Paradise Point PUD Park, which you provided a recommendation for last meeting. At the August 14th meeting, they decided not to take action on it and wanted to mull it over a little bit more, which brings us to the August 28th public meeting. First, we did have my peers from the Clark County Parks and Vancouver Parks and Recreation and Cultural Services came to visit the City Council and discussed the Clark County Regional Funding Parks Funding Project. What they're looking for is the challenge is every single parks agency in the county, and frankly kind of across the state, is dealing with budget challenges. Having enough funds to operate and take care of our parks is a struggle for every agency. And even for the City of Ridgefield, we are slightly below the national average for what we invest in the maintenance of our parks and trails. So the county is leading an initiative to study revenue generation options for the county that may or may not involve the cities and other jurisdictions in that process. So what the Clark County has asked is for each city in the county to participate in the task force, and at this point every city in the county has agreed to participate, including the City of Ridgefield as of the 28th. And our former chair, Councilmember Ryan Davis, has been appointed to serve on that task force for the City of Ridgefield. So I'm very excited to be working with Ryan a little bit more. Next up for that meeting on the 28th, we had the park name dedication for the Paradise Point PUD, and they formally chose the name Storybook Hollow Park. Thank you for providing recommendations and all of the information to them, and they were able to put forward an idea that I think is going to work well for us. So thank you. All right, a couple of things to report out to you. One, the city has a wellness program, and we had staff members participate in the Hood to Coast and the Portland to Coast run and walk just a couple weeks ago. It was brutally hot, over 100 degrees day of. I can attest I was running in 101 degree heat, and everybody made it through safe and did well, but it was a great opportunity to have staff members from across the city participate. And I'm proud to say that the largest group to participate in the team were Public Works workers, specifically the Parks team. Just saying. But it was a wonderful opportunity, and it's great to have different departments coming together for a shared cause outside of work. Next up, Boyce Park Phase 1. Construction has started. It officially started on September 2nd, and they'll be doing work through the middle of October at the latest, possibly sooner than that. We are going to be holding a WAVE event. For those who are not aware of what WAVE is, it is a council initiative that's welcoming, accessible, visible, and engaging. It's City Council's initiative to be present in the community. So they plan on hosting a groundbreaking type event at Boyce Park on September 30th. Parks Board, you'll receive information on this tomorrow from me, as well as an invitation to attend. We would love you to be there. Storybook Hollow Park construction is moving along steadily. They are planning a ribbon cutting sometime this fall. Right now, they are just waiting for the play equipment to be delivered. And finally, I'd like to acknowledge that summer has officially come to an end, and our summer would not be possible if it was not for the great work of our operations and maintenance teams. They work hard all summer long to keep our parks looking great so we can enjoy them. So first, I just want to thank them. If you see someone in a high-vis vest in a park, go thank them for taking care of our parks. All right, what's coming next? So for the remainder of this year, we have a lot of prep work as a Parks Board. In October, we're going to be getting some presentations from our recreational priority partners, specifically Pacific Soccer Club and Ridgefield Little League. We'll be presenting how their past years have been. What is the work that they're doing to help support youth leagues within our city? We're also going to be reviewing the Parks and Trails development process. So a little bit of education workshop for us so that we can be best prepared for the Parks, Recreation, and Open Spaces plan, the PROS plan, that we'll be working on in 2026. In November, we're going to go over the previous PROS plan from 2020. We're going to talk about the successes. Where are the places that we may have incomplete projects? And how did that process go so that, again, you can be best prepared for 2026. In December, we'll start working on our work plan for 2026. For those of you who have been on the board more than a year, you'll know that our work plan is developed by us and approved by council and allows us to do the work that we do. So that's what you can anticipate over the next few months. And finally, I always finish my staff report with a get outside message. School has officially started back up, so I encourage all drivers to be very well aware of children walking and biking to school. And families, if you've got children, please make sure that you are working with them on how to bike to school safely with a helmet, have a plan, have a route, and get there safely. And high visibility is always important. So let's make sure all of our youngest park users and trail users are safe. Thank you. I can keep going.
All right. What about, yes, you could. What about from the board?
I was running outside the other day and I ran by Boyce Park and I saw the machines there and I was really excited. I was like, yes, finally. Because I've been waiting for that to get ground broken for a long time. But then in the same run, I ran by the new park, Storybrooke Hollow, and I saw that the bridge is looking pretty good and they're getting a lot of things done. So that's encouraging to see that that'll be coming to completion sometime soon. Building on what Corey said, I was in a meeting today about the Parks Board meeting and raising fees because of the funding structures for the county too. So I'm excited that you and Chair Davis, or Councilor Davis, will be working on that, since I was talking to Ross Hoover about that today. So yeah, all exciting stuff. So I'm just a lot of parks going in this fall. So that's encouraging, and hopefully by next spring and summer, everyone can enjoy them.
Okay.
I think I've lived here for 8 years, but often I have friends coming from other parts of Portland, the Portland metro area, and I noticed at the Multicultural Fest how much it's grown and the market that was there. But also every time people come here, they're like, not only they like the downtown, but the flowers, the parks, it all comes together to look really amazing and inviting, and the reason I'm sure a lot of us live here. So thank you.
I attended the Farm to Table dinner, which was put on by the city. Huge success. It was a great night. I was pleased to see so many people that I didn't know. I remember the first year the Farm to Table dinner was put on, I felt like I knew 50% of the people that attended. And this year I didn't, and that there were 4 people at our table that we didn't know. And we went with just some other friends, and we actually made very good friends, connected with these 2 other couples, and just hearing why they moved here and how much they appreciate it. They came from Los Angeles. They had positions within the city of Los Angeles, and they chose, they researched and they chose this place and why they moved here and been here about 6 years. So it's nice to hear that people really, I think people move here on purpose, such as Miranda has moved here on purpose. People don't land in Ridgefield just by chance. They actually come here purposely. And the surroundings is one of the things they talked about and how it made them feel to be here. And I think our parks and the representation that we put into our parks has a lot to do with that. And we have so much opportunity to grow future residents, good residents to this area with what we put into our parks, and it all comes with forethought. And so I just would urge all of us to continue to really think about what our park will do to future residents as they research our area and move here purposely.
Right. How you doing, Jonesy?
school started. But I just got appointed as a CISPIS counselor, the outdoor school. So I get to go teach 300 fifth graders about nature in October.
That's wonderful.
Well, yeah.
I just want to thank the Garden Club for being here today and being such good partners and coming to our meetings. So thank you for that. And I'm really excited to learn more about Bee City. And if there's no one else, did anyone else have anything to say? With that, we'll adjourn at 7:17. Thank you.